Howdy, folks. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the first live stream of the season 2. This is mainly to see if all of the equipment is working correctly, the new equipment that we got, and to see if everything's still going. And I figured, I ain't going to go out and get in that mess of a New Year's Eve with all them daggum idiots and lunatics out there. So I figured I was going to sit here for a couple hours here and do a little bit of hobbying. So I figured I'd run the thing. I'm mainly going to be doing Necromunda. I already got my Escher gang put together and all, and I'm going to be starting the painting on them. I'm putting together Goliath. I got a daggum frog. Putting together these daggum Goliath models, and I'm going to be chopping them up and talking to you about while I'm chopping them up and putting them together. And I'm going to be spraying them down. I've got several plague marines here and a foul blight spawn that's going to get started painting on. And then I'm going to got 3 myphitic blight haulers that I'm going to paint them all three at one time. Now this was a very good value. I think everybody agree for $25 as far as GW standards. $25. And like I said, I'm mainly working on that. I got some Necromunda terrain over here that I'm also going to be working on. I done started up on them. I did it with rattle cans and some and a salt method, which I'm not really recommending too highly to do it. It's a very labor intensive, and I didn't really like the results. I got too much. I got to do some touching up with them on the brush stuff, and then I'm going to hit them with the Tester's dull coat and finish it off. But first of all, I'm going to get started on putting together some of these Goliaths, and let me get the camera down here. Oh, y'all see my pink mouse. All right, I got to wear these granny glasses because I'm so old. I used to could do this with my very bare naked eyes. I could paint these up for many years. And then here lately, I just can't see them. It's just a blur to me. So once I put these on, I can see them like all the youngins in there. I used to see them. But anyway, what I got so far is about 7 of these Goliaths put together. And I ain't got the heads done yet. The heads are pretty much 100% interchangeable. The arms are to a point and all. Just like with the Escher gang. You can put my arms on the Escher gang are switched completely up. Because this is the gang I was mainly going to, I was fixating on and I was going to play. And this Goliath gang, I'm mainly building for, for opponents to play that don't have a gang, and I want to show them the game or something another like that. So I'm mainly building these up, second. So I'm building them pretty much just like what's done on these sheets right here. And right now they got, like I said, I got 7 of them built, except for the head. And a lot of people saying, well, why don't you do more tutorials and why don't you do this? Well, I'm going to start doing them, and I guess this is the first one of them, to show y'all not only just how I do all this stuff, but, how I'm doing it so fast. Because I like to always looking for shortcuts, but still keeping up the, kind of a high quality, above tabletop standard, but still looking for shortcuts on painting, like sketch painting and dry brushing different parts and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together Nox the Ripper real quick. So it says I need number 55 and 14 for his chest plate. And all the chest plates are pretty much interchangeable without any modification. You could use any style of these chest plates on any what are they called? Furnace plates. Use any of these furnace plate things for any of these guys. So as you see, I'm using clippers. I used to, back in the day, man, just up until a couple years ago, I used a knife just to punch them out. Punch them out. Because I use a pretty big knife. I use a number 2. X-Acto. That's my main knife. I got number 1s laying around here. But that's my main cutting knife, is the number 2s. So you used to could just punch them out. But this daggum GW plastic, I mean, it got hard as woodpecker lips a few years back, and you just can't. You're gonna snap something, break something off. So I use these to cut them out. Now, what I do, you see, I usually overcut on the outside of them because these chip clippers got a flat side and they got a beveled side. And if you push you think, oh, well, I'm gonna cut them real close with the flat side. But what happens is when you dig into that plastic there, it pushes the flat side towards it, and it can deform the plastic part on here. So usually what I do is I cut away from the part with the bevel side to the part. I try to do that most of the time. And he's going to need 17 and 45. So that's it. Away to the part, I put the bevel like that, and I overcut it. Because for some reason, and I haven't really figured it out yet, you come back afterwards, that's when you put the flat piece part in. And I think it's because you don't have the frame holding it. And you can, when you're cutting here, the little piece has a room to go somewhere. And so then you go up with that flat part and get in there close and snip. All right, I'm looking for 17. Gotta have it on here. There it is right there. Yeah, 17. Now, one thing I was disappointed with these Goliaths is on the women, I was able to get 7 different hairstyles out of the women. And out of the men, there's only 5 at all. And more than half of them ain't really hair. It's dang like studs or metal mohawks, man. So, I'm a big fan of a mohawk haircut. And I'm also a big fan of these bases that come in that new Necromunda. And I had predicted, man, when I first seen Shadespire and all come with the bases that was model specific, or just kind of game specific or whatnot. I knew this was going to be a starting trend, that these dang bases the days of plain bases, I think, are done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and trim a little flash off of this guy. Now, as you see, some people's commented before about how I'm cutting back towards my thumb with the X-Acto knife. Well, this X-Acto knife, the blade right here, when I'm doing this type of work, I like to use a fairly dull one. It's got to be able to cut, but it's got to be able to be fairly dull. And I use an older one, and I just take a sharpening stone and I run it back and forth a few times. I mean, I can really keep one of these going for months and months if you're really down to it. But it's not really sharp. You use a brand new one, you better tape your thumb up as you're cutting like that, because you look down, you don't feel them micro cuts and stuff, and all of a sudden you're all sliced up like a emo, kid or something, cutters or whatnot. So I have cut my thumb many a times, but I have learned to use these little bit duller blades to just trim off. They got to be sharp enough to cut, but not sharp enough to cut your finger. So I'm checking. edge of these, most of the time, the edge of these old, and you make them dull by doing things like this. If y'all hear me holler, oh, and just yell out for no reason over there behind me, my daggum team is playing the Atlanta Falcons, and they are playing to try to get into the playoffs. And if they win this game, they'll be in the playoffs. And so if you hear me holler and yell out for no reason at all, it's because of that right there. So, all right, I got all the pieces ready. Now I use super glue. Some people using plastic glue. I use super glue because sometimes I want to break it back apart. Even 20 years later, I want to break it back apart. So I use super glue, and the kind of super glue I use is this Gorilla Glue. All right, Gorilla Super Glue, the 10-second stuff. It costs about $5 for a little can of this right here. And I use super glue. And a lot of times, man, if I got it ready and I got a base ready, which is, not all the time, but thanks to Games Workshop up in the base game, we got a base ready right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put him on the base. And then the next, I done found out from putting a couple of these together that you probably should put this little plate on his front first. Now, I don't want to jam the front nozzle of this, even though these dang nozzles of this brand and all of Gorilla Glue, they rarely ever clog. They got a little metal piece way up in the cap that every time you screw the cap on, it punctures it. And on top of that, it's just a very good design about how the lip. Occasionally, I got to take my fingernail and go around the outside. But what I usually do is, if you ain't got nothing to put it on, which I really don't right now, to put it out on, I'll just put it out on the desk right here. A little bit of super glue. And I'll use a toothpick and grab it up. And I use that toothpick and I'm going around the outside. I'm going to do both arms. And the way Games Workshop has got these keyed up are pretty universal for all these. I think that you could switch the arms on dang near all of these, and it'd be pretty close. If you had to do any trimming, it'd be very minor. The fit and finish of these has been very, up to par so far with these. And I'm just about done. And all that talk I did about putting the daggum breastplate on, I went and put the arm on. And that's because I have done it over and over and over again, put the arm on before the breastplate. And then sometimes you got to fit that breastplate down in there and snap it in. But if you go ahead and put it in, it's a done deal. Now, I'm missing the other edge of his arm. That fell off. This thing super glue normally is pretty good about holding. Just getting in position. There it goes. Alright, I need number 44. Oh, Lord, where are you? So little arm. Like I said, I try to put the bevel down. Otherwise, especially on a little part like that, it squeezes because it's attached to the frame. You're pushing against the frame. Once it gets off the frame, then you want to put the flat part up against the model piece. And then trim off that little bit more. Like I said, I already got glue on there. Sometimes these little ones you're going to need to dry fit, but they got a little keyway system going with their arms here. It's going to allow me to just put that in there like that. His arms kick back, but the little keyway in there makes it kick back. If you wanted his arm a little straighter, I reckon you could take and cut the little male part of that keyway off and let his arm go out. Now you see how quick I'm being able to work with this thing super glue and add on. And I don't even know if you can work that quickly with it What does it look like? And how's he holding it behind his leg? If you can work that quickly with that plastic glue. The plastic glue is a little more forgiving at times, but once it sets, man, that's it. The plastic glue's in there. How's he holding that? You got to find. They usually have a little socket, and you'll feel it when you get into it. Wiggle around. Now, like a lot of folks have said about these models from Necromunda set, it ain't no beginner set. It's thing for advanced modelers. The pieces are small, they're fiddly, and I'm not saying the fit ain't good. The fit is, just as good as you would think from any Necromunda or any Games Workshop kit. The fit is high quality. Now, there's another little plate I need to put on him. It's a number 6. I can find it real quick. There's that number 6. Put the flat spot to it. Snip it. Peel it with that knife. It's ready to go. And I believe you put that little curve spot up on all the other ones. The curve spot's going up toward the top. I still got a little bit of super glue laying down there. If it's not touching, 2 pieces touching together, that super glue will lay there for a minute. You've seen how long it's been. I mean, I'll be using it some more before I have to put out more. So as long as nothing's touching it. Okay, and I got that plate in on him, and he's done. Let's go to the last 2 fellers. And if I do cut with the flat spot towards the piece, I usually cut pretty far down. And then, like I said, come back with the flat spot now that the frame's off. And you'll let it go. Now, since these right here are the same, model, I'm going to do them both at the same time. And they was Varric and Brack was their names in here. They're going to be named something different. Now, of course, I'm not putting the accessories on them like grenades because I don't know exactly what I'm going to buy, for these models. Here, I got to add up the points. I'm just, like I said, this isn't the game I'm really going to play. This is a game that I'm going to have for other people to play. I'm not real partial to these. I had a Goliath game back in the day, way back, and I still got a bunch of the models. Here's one of them. I modified him with let's see if we can get it to focus. Can you focus there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I modified him up with an afro. You see, that's back. He had an old school plasma pistol. He's got a dang Samuel L. Jackson afro. Big white boots on. Anyway, that's what Goliath was all about back in the day for me, or whatever. And I got several gangs, legacy gangs, you call them now. I got a Redemptor gang that's going to come out, and I'm going to be painting them up. I had them stripped down all the way back down from their old paint job, which, was all right, but it just wasn't. I done got better a lot better, I guess, over the past 15 years or so, and I wanted to really do those models right because it was always a favorite of mine, and very controversial, of course, with them dang pointy hats and Ku Klux Klan looking things like that. But anyway, what was the other pieces for them? All right, we got 36 coming for his little leg. All right, and on these boots too, sometimes on the boots, you can't cut it with the flat spot because the flat spot, it won't push too hard against the sole of that boot. So I found them, cut the bottoms, clean them. Now I love pieces that only got one little piece attached to the sprue. You only got one little part to clean. And this super glue is still workable. I'm gonna get right in that slot. the Games Workshop has made these keyways. But you know, to tell you the truth, some of these pieces on these models is just almost unnecessary. It's for the sake of putting them together. I don't know, but like the cigar in the fella's mouth that I'm going to get to shortly. It may be the tiniest piece I've ever seen from Games Workshop. Number 47, piece 47, I believe is this number. And it's one of the smallest pieces I've ever seen. I better get these daggone plates on the front of these fellas. And I forgot his little arm. His little shoulder pads, I guess what you'd call it. And real quick, let me pop up his shoulder pad. And now this super glue has got a little bit thick. So I'll go in there, touch it to his shoulder. Yeah, I'm not working with tweezers today. It's got to be a pretty small part nowadays before I'm gonna get down with the tweezers. But I mean, I still have to use them at times. Now let's get some plates going on, some chest plates. Found one here. All right. And where's that other chest plate? Right there. Now these Goliaths, they're going to have a lot less leftover parts, but than the Eschers had. I was telling you about the hairstyles and all, and they got a lot more accessories. It looks like you can get a fair amount of heads. Now I want my heads on Goliath here to be mostly bare heads because they give you a fair amount of Goliath guys that are just fully masked in these iron type masks. And I'm not going for that, you know, what do they call it? That Mexican wrestling. I'm not going for that look on mine because I'm going to try to do most of mine. And I believe I counted up and you got 8 bear heads. That's if you use the cigar fella twice. And I'm really wanting to use the cigar fella from my main guy's head. Like I said, the Mohawk selection on these is pretty slim. I'm not too pleased with the Mohawk selection on these I'm comparing them to the Escher models is what I'm doing. And the Eschers had, like I said, I was able to get 7 different ones. Now on these, you're only going to get 5 different ones. Let me get these last 2 fellas up on the bases. Check around the bases. Games Workshop's quality control is just so high. It's very rare. Now there was there's an issue with the Myphitic blight haulers over here on the back end of them, where this wheel is. You've been seeing a lot of people with them split out, and what's causing all that and pieces not going all the way together, even though it's called an easy build kit, man, if you're using super glue and those easy build pins and you don't get it all the way in and the super glue seizes up, it won't allow you to push it all the way together and the pieces won't seat. So if you're using super glue with some of these easy build kits, it's a little bit recommended that you're going to clip off the little tabs that lets you, easy build, and just use your super glue to do it instead of trying to use, just the easy build tabs. Unless you're a young child or whatnot, And then, of course you need parental supervision. All right, sometimes if you get a little bit extra super glue on there, I just dab him back down and just touch him I had a little bit too much. Now on these new type bases, it looks like it's a somewhat difficult to find a flat spot at times. You got to pay attention where you're putting them on. You know, with all these dynamic poses of these models too, you got to pay attention to where you're going to stick the foot. Like this fella's leaning forward considerable. You're not going to want to stick the foot in the dead center of the base, because then the guy will be hanging off the front of the base. You want to try to center the bulk of the model over the base, over the center of the base. So sometimes, like on this fella, you got to put the foot back considerable off of center. This is glued, and I love this super glue. This is probably my favorite super glue I've ever had. You know, all the years. And I say that and watch it fall. And needs a touch more. I had wiped too much off of it when I dabbed it back down onto the table. I got too much off of it. And I'm not creating enough of a bond there. You know, this super glue, it melts it just a hair. It does. If you put too much, especially, it melts it down. And it'll melt your plastic a little bit. All right, I got that fella on. Now, what kind of arms we had. For these two guys. 40, 41, 42. Easy enough. And 40. Air 42. Looking for 41, some kind of forearm. It might be on that other sprue. They're doubling them up by using them on other models and stuff. 42, yep. See him over here. He's already been used somewhere off that other sprue. Alright, so that gets his arms and his weapon. Let's go ahead and get him a shoulder pad while I'm thinking about it. Okay, shoulder pad. I'm going to put him together. And that last one was trying, the one that fell off while I was talking so good about the super glue. The one that fell to pieces. Yeah, bad damn shadow on that thing. It might be better. I don't know. Oh, hell. Bad shadow on the miniatures. What the heck? I know I'm wearing sunglasses. No, I had to put my granny glasses on to do all this kind of work. I think I'm gonna clean this up real quick. Once again, I'm not using a terrible sharp knife. You see me cutting toward myself. You know, even with a brand new blade, you know, sometimes you gotta cut like this with a brand new blade. And you just gotta be careful. Or put a piece of tape around your thumb, Band-Aid, something like that, to absorb the cutting motion of this. I have done that before, and I especially have done it after I cut into my thumb with it. Alright, he's ready. I'm gonna put out a little more. You know, and this super glue all goes away. And this table, as you can see, I'm gonna spill so much wash on it, and I'll just replace it later. I mean, I wouldn't recommend you doing this on just blopping out some super glue on your old lady's dining room table. That's a good way to get put in a doghouse. But this table here, I'll just, you know, recover the top of it. In fact, this is actually the undercoat of what I done had here before. Is this arm supposed to be all kind of crazy like that? No. Huh. I got the wrong arm. I need 41 there. I haven't got it. Give him the wrong arm. Here we go. It's easy to find when you get down near the end. Because, like I said, on these Goliaths, they don't have quite as much variety at all as the measures. Especially in variety of weapons, I think. Man, I had just a pile of... You see, let's move that out with the side. If I cut a little bit too much, it wouldn't slide that out. But I had just a pile of Lay's pistols mainly left over from that Escher gang. It's gonna get him like that now. So whatever his other arm is over here, it's gonna be 44, 45, and 43. There's dang 43. And I bet you they're on the other one. Yep, there's 45. And what was his other arm there? 44. Another one of them 44s. Back to the other one. Alright, that'll be his pieces. Chop them. Like I said, this allows you to get fairly close without deforming the piece. If you cut them with this a flat side, or the snippers closed up against. And going back in with your knife, taking a trim. Cleaning all the spots. Try to hit all the spots before they get glued to the model, because you can get... Another thing I try to do sometimes is drill out these barrels before I even put them on the dang model. So alright. I find the center with the side of that knife, and I got yelled at on the internet a little bit about this. So we gotta be careful. Well, yeah, it's a knife. You gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with a gun. Gotta be careful with a knife. Oh, you're drilling towards yourself. Well, be careful, man. Alright. If you ain't comfortable with a knife like this, well, don't do this method. You know, you get you a pin, what's called a pin vise drill, and drill it out. You know, if you ain't comfortable with that method. Alright. With this one, ain't gotta be exactly in the center. It's good if you are, but because you're carving around the outside, once you find your hole in there, you're not just drilling as deep as you can. Then you're using the side of the knife to carve over toward the edges to get you a hole, and you're mainly just making out a little cone that you're cutting into it, you see. And that one's ready. I'll get a little bit off of his arm. Right. So how's my goo doing there? It's gonna stiffen up on me and put a little more down. Only putting out a little tiny drop at a time so that I'm using up most of it. I'm not leaving big piles of it. Line up that one. Lining up these hands for this stub cannon, I believe they call it. Stub cannon. Alright, he's done except for his little shoulder pad. Put his little shoulder pad on. I believe I'm going to get one more for the other fella. For the final guy, and then I'm going to move on to the heads real quick. Alright, this one. Let's go ahead and go to his arms. Put that in there. Let's get a different view. Think maybe that's better? Who knows? Alright, let's try that. Like I said, this is just a trial run today to try to see how the stream is working. Making sure that the thing's still working with this new hardware. We got all new hardware since last season. And the first little test I got done, just was trying to do a test last week, and then I get a phone call. Oh heck, what am I doing here? I put the wrong piece on. I get a phone call from a fella who was watching it and said, alrighty. He said it come up on his thing as a video, but it wouldn't let him view it. And what it was is I had just inadvertently clicked the go on air button, I think. And it had gone on air for 1 second. And then after that, the video, I guess, is not deleted. I can't get it to come up in my videos so that I can delete it all the way. And a little bit of flash there. Uh-oh. Didn't let it sit long enough. Fooled with that old flash. I had him upside down too long. There we go. Need a little bit more glue. Get it on the end of his arm. Get that spud jacker in there. With that thing, super glue, it's all about getting it set in the correct position where it's seated and holding it for about 10 seconds. I mean, they're right. You hold it for about 10 seconds. And it's on there. So about the only thing I need left to do with him is find his little shoulder pad. There it is. Howdy, viewer. I'm putting together Goliath from the Necromunda set. And I'm just going to be mainly sitting here working on some bunch of Necromunda stuff. And I figured since I wasn't going out and getting in this mess, on New Year's Eve that I would test out my live stream with my new hardware here. See if it was working. There's that shoulder pad. Put it up. All right, he's on, and that's all the 10 Goliaths, and I built them stock from a little paper. And I built all the Eschers over here. Not stock. They were built by writing a list of what I wanted my leader to have and my different champions to have. And then I built them like that because the arms, the heads are fully interchangeable on both these. The arms are mostly interchangeable. There's a couple of these poses that won't let you have arms that's crossing their body because the body, the dang torso is twisted too much. So what I was talking about earlier is I wanted most of my Goliaths to have these heads that are bare, and about more than half of the heads on the Goliaths are not bare. They have some kind of mask on. You know, if you want to see these masks over there. They got a lot of them that's got a mask on, a gas mask. I don't want most of mine to have it. And I wish they had more. Like number 50. I believe that's his number. Come on, focus up. Man. There we go. Look at number 50. How happy. So I want most of mine to have bare heads. So I'm going to chop out all the bare heads. They're fully universal. All the heads. Once again, I'm trying to use my beveled side of my snippers toward the piece so that I don't push the plastic, especially with these small pieces, these heads and stuff. There's 4 of my heads I'm going to get. And then I'm going to have to get one more here. And he has a lower piece on his head that's mainly just a piece of metal. All the other ones is pretty much covered up like Mexican wrestlers. Yeah. I don't want them. So I'm going to cut the heads off of these two as well. So I'm going to get all 10 of my heads ready. And like I said before, with these you only got 5 options for the mohawks. 3 out of the 5. So this means I'm going to have 10 mohawks total. 3 out of the 5 options ain't even really mohawks. They're metal mohawks. It's made out of metal or whatnot. They're not even hair. So I kind of wish they had included more of those in with these, because they did with the girls. I was able to get 7 of them out of that, and I had a bunch of leftover heads that I'm not going to have out of this. So let's see if I got 10 heads. 2, 4. That's my 10 heads. Now I got to use all 10 of the mohawks that come with the 2 sprues. And of course, the 2 sprues that come with the Necromunda for each game. And of course, when you buy the box set of that game, you're going to get 2 identical sprues. Looking at this leftovers, you're going to get a leftover grenade launcher. You're going to get a leftover, what is that? Some type of serrated axe. I can't even, a renderizer, I believe they call it. You're going to get a leftover stub pistol, a leftover combi, a stub pistol, plasma pistol, a leftover. You're going to get quite a bit of weapons left over, a good amount. And a good amount of leftover heads, but no torsos. And dang sure, no leftover mohawks, because you got to use all 10, I believe. Let's see what they got on here on each sprue. There's 3, 4. There's 5 on each sprue, it looks like. Like I said, most of them ain't even hair. Some kind of metal. Like a centurion. Studs beat into somebody's head. Alright. Find all the mohawks. Chop them off. Now use the flat spot to clean them. Well, I really am enjoying this Necromunda game. I think it's the best skirmish small unit game that I've seen, that I've played. They got a lot of the rules right, because they've taken seems like they've taken a lot of the mechanics from other games, like the turns back and forth, but you know, they still kept the core of those daggum characteristics from the old, you know, your statistics. It still kept all that from the old Warhammer, so it still plays like old Warhammer, but with a brand new flavor as far as the way the turns work and the way you go back and forth. And with the skirmish games with small amount of units per side, I really think it's the best way to go. One player activates one unit or one model, and then the other player activates another model, and then back to the first player and activate one model at a time, instead of, and they run it like this all the way up, and even in Armageddon, your whole, and in the old Necromunda, your whole side moves and then attacks, and then his whole team moves and attacks, you know, just like in a regular the Warhammer, you know, game mechanic, where the whole team goes and the next one goes. Well, that in a skirmish game where you only got a couple people, that can give a bit of an advantage, you know, and that's one of the, not a gripe, but that's one of the things I don't like about skirmish AOS, Age of Sigmar, is that your whole team, unless everybody gets locked up into close combat, then, you know, it's a different story. Then it works kind of like this. But your whole team gets to go, and then the other whole team. But I'm used to playing that way. I've been playing all these games for many a moon. So let me clean these heads up real quick, and I'm gonna get them popped on. Then I'm gonna show you how we're gonna spray paint them. I done got one coat on my Escher gang over here. I got one coat on them. These fellers, all these my Fittic blight haulers, they're all done as far as spray painting them black. And I'm going to get to showing you my method in a little bit of how I dry brush, and not just dry brush, I'm going to sketch paint them damn things. These heads are a little bit tedious, man, because they're small. You still got a little bit of flash on the sides of them. Like I said before, I'm using a kind of dull X-Acto knife. I use a big one. I use a number 2 X-Acto knife. I got number 1s laying around for different things that I do, but my main workhorse here is this number 2. I use a little bit of a dull knife, that way I'm not cutting my fingers to pieces when I overcut and finish the cuts out. Now with any blade, with any knife, of course, you gotta be extremely careful. Just like with a gun, anything like that, a knife, you know, it's made to cut. You know, it'll cut you too. It doesn't care. It don't have a brain. It just say, I don't want to cut you, but man, if you misuse it, or not even misuse it, if you just not paying attention, it'll cut you. Just like it's a tool used to do this right here. A hammer will hit you in the finger. So these little heads are a little bit tedious. I'm getting her done. That's 8 down. Like I said, I'm doing all my heads. Most all my heads. You can see, well, all my heads. You'll be able to see the face. Wish I had more options, and I'm going to take a look at these. Of maybe putting some other type of head on for my leader. that don't have a dang, that's not one of these. So that way I could have one feller with the cigar, because that's pretty much the most dynamic head that they got going. And I'm hoping these mohawks, and it looks like they are, is all interchangeable with each head. It doesn't matter which mohawk you put on which head. It's what it looks like. I don't know. I'll get to that. But I'm hoping that's the case. It was with the Eschers. But what I'm saying is that guy with the cigar, he's my favorite one. Really wanted to make him as a leader. But I almost don't want to have two fellers in the gang. I'm all about variety. I almost don't want to have two fellers in the gang that's both rocking that cigar in their mouth. So, about to be done with these mohawks. Got 3 more to go. And we're going to get them glued up and slapped on top of their heads. And then that will complete my entire Necromunda force as far as building them. And then I'm going to get to spraying them. I told you my Escher gang's got one coat on them. Because you can't spray a lot, especially little spindly models like these Eschers. It's hard to spray them in one go round and get all the areas. And I'm going to try to show you a couple of little tricks in just a few minutes of how you can try to spray and optimize getting up under the underarms and the fermunda of all these Necromundas. So I got all them took apart. So now what I'm wanting to do is this. Now I want to pick my favorites, like I always do with helmets, and when I got a whole mess of them. Now, of course, 2 of my favorites are the cigar guys. I got them out already. My second 2 favorites are the laughers, the Joker, I'm gonna call him. Where is he at? You got the guy yelling, and the guy with the thing around the bottom of his head. I gotta call him a Hannibal Lecter, I reckon. Where's that? Anyway, we got the Joker again, and one more Hannibal. And that'll set me off right there. Now, mohawks. Which mohawks do I like best? Well, I kind of prefer the daggone hair. So I'm going to pull the hair out first. So, and then I like the short spikes best, I guess. Pull them out next. And then on to those bigger saw blade looking head dresses. So first of all, I'm going to glue up. Now, if these is about as big a pain as the Escher ones, I won't be surprised. Let me dry fit one of them first. A lot of times, you gotta realize these mohawks are going a bit different direction than you thought they was going, because they're going, out forward, and it looks like you would think, oh, they're running to the back. Well, when you go to hold them up and put the head on them, on the front of them, you gotta orient them so they're going forward. Oh, they got these slided in nice. So I'm gonna put that laugher on the first one here. Let's put down a little super glue. Don't do that on your mama's table, please. Good Lord. Get a piece of cardboard or something. I'm just working off an old MDF table that I'm going to end up replacing. In fact, this was the under part of the table that I had, before. I've done spilt so much stuff on it. It's going to get a new top layer on it here shortly. All right. Got the first Joker on. I want to use the next Joker. I want to give him a little bit different headgear. So I guess I want to give him a spiky. Let's dry fit it and see what it's going to look like on him with spike. Short spikes. Can I live with it? Oh, Lordy. I reckon I can live with it. So let's give me a little bit of super glue off the table there on my toothpick, because that's how I'm applying it here, so I can get pretty good control. I almost have to do that with super glue with these tiny little spindly parts. Now I can do it. I'll put super glue just like this on the bottom of their feet and whatnot when I'm attaching them to the base and things like that. But for these tiny little parts, man, I'll just use a toothpick, drop super glue on the table, or on a piece of cardboard or something. All right, let's go one more time with my favorite, the bigger mohawk, and that's going to be one of the cigar guys, one of the hairstyles. I do wish they had more hair mohawks for these Goliaths. They got a lot of metal mohawks for them. The good news is the design of the fit and finish, I reckon you'd call it, on a product. Man, it's just high. I mean, people complain about all these prices and whatnot. $140 for a great unclean one. Yeah, it's $140 for a great unclean one. But man, these are the best. This is the top models in the world. Hell, what are you paying for it? You ain't paying $30,000 for a dadgum Ferrari, are you? No. So you ain't paying $30,000 really for a Chevy truck. So not with nothing on it. So I'm gonna have to use some of these bigger metal pieces. I just can't imagine having that drove down into your head as being comfortable, or even having you thinking that looks good. I reckon, man, if you go about as bald as me and you get down like me, where you can't hardly wear a mohawk no more, you need to look into getting metal studs driven through your head, like these fellers here, and and see how you like it. They seem to like it. I don't know, but some of them seem to be upset about it. But give one more good one to him. I got one more hair. Out of the 4 hairs that you get, 4 out of 6 are actual hair. That's not good enough, GW. One more hair for my glass. All right, that one yellow's gonna be here. This hair. Just about done with these heads. Two more. These little Hannibal Lecters. I need a touch more. Where did that come from? There it is. Touch more super glue down there. In there. Slide him in there. Hold. Make sure it's seated pretty good. Uno mas. Glue in there. A little bit. Slide that head down in there. Last head. Now, let's pick out my favorite heads. It's going to be them jokers and the cigars. So there's one cigar. There's a yeller. I kind of like them yellers. There's a joker right there. And one more joker. Come on, wait. Joker. Remember that TV show? All right, here we go. Got 2 jokers. So, leader of a war band here, or the gang, should say. I'm going to give him a cigar head. I'm going to get him a cigar head with the hair. So I still got a little bit of goo left there. I need a little bit more. Put down a little bit of super glue, because as good as these tips are on this dang Gorilla Glue, which is the kind I'm using and all, as good as these tips are, I don't like them for the fine detail work, which I'm using right now. And I am using super glue. I'm not using plastic glue. I prefer super glue so that I can bust it off, 20 years later, even if I need to. Okay, let's see how good he's going to be. I haven't put one of these heads on. I haven't seen how they seat yet. See which way I can turn him. That looks about right. Man, I'm having a hard time. There he goes. Turn his head towards. A lot of times you want to turn the head towards where the weapon's pointing. I forgot to drill out these barrels, so I'm going to catch these barrels while I got them in my hand. Because I work on so much stuff at once. A lot of times, man, if I don't do it when I catch it, I'll get it later. Man, getting it later. That's a dang pipe dream. So I'm drilling out his little combi pistol there with my knife, being very, very careful. Of course, I've drilled out hundreds of barrels. I'm going to do this with a slightly dull knife. Cone it out and you're making a cone in there. But once you put black, once it gets black, you won't be able to see that it is a cone. It'll look. Now that one's done, and he's done, and pretty much he's ready for the spray booth. If I had a spray, he's ready to get sprayed. And we put him, place him to the side. Now my next thing is a champion. Now with these Goliaths, I believe the champion's the one that's got to hold that heavy rivet gun. So I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna do a Joker on him. I'm gonna do Joker with hair on him. My second favorite head. He gets it. Now he's looking pretty much straight ahead, I reckon. But his head is making him turn. Okay, look that way then. Okay, I guess you gotta go with how the head is seated, unless you want him to look a certain way. His head is turned. Oh, I'm not pleased with this $100 camera. I really am not. I am not pleased. There we go. You see how his head is turned over, and it's not looking straight. I tried to put it on straight and looking right over top of that, like, respirator guard or whatever it is right there. But the way his neck was, it forced me to turn like that, which is totally fine. All right, so he's done. 2 down. So my next champion is the one holding tenderizer, renderizer, whatever you want to call it. So what is he gonna get? A joking, laughing face. I guess my champions is gonna have that laughing head. So I put some glue in the hole. Get his head down there, and I believe it's gonna want to turn to the left as well. There's a laughing head. A right one? I don't know. No, because I see. All right. See, he came off all right. Man, I love that laughing look. Wish I'd done more, but I mean, I'm liking those Nurgle ones too now. So now I can almost randomize the rest of them, because I don't hardly have. I got a couple guys that's yelling, so I want to look over here real quick and see which ones of them I think would be a yelling. Now you can look down at here. One thing I didn't do before. if you look down at the necks right here, there can be offset a little bit to where you can tell if it's going to be right or left. And this fella right here, he's going to be looking to the right, to his right. So do I need one that's looking right? I guess I could go with any of these. So it'll be him. Put down a little bit more glue. I still got some. As that glue laser, it gets thicker and thicker. So he's going to be looking to the his right there. He's done. I'm going to add him a little bit more glue. Oh, I heard that noise. Heard that noise means I'm glad I already went to Home Depot and got out another. I'm glad I went and already got another one on tap. Alright, got another yellow right there. I don't like the way it looks. I ain't doing it. The gun, he's looking so far to his left that the gun on this fella here was going to be blocking it almost. So this one here is where it needs to be, because he's looking towards the gun where the gun would be firing. There, that was nice. Now back over to this one. He needs one where he's actually looking to the right. So I believe this one's going to be the one he needs. Freshen him up with a little bit of glue. Find the one that's looking to that right. That's the left, here's the right. And that's a cigar head. Sarge, old Sarge. So he coming out all right. This guy needs to be looking this way, down the barrel of the gun. He's looking extremely to the left and down a little bit. Looks like I got to carve a little bit more of his cheek. Look like. Didn't quite get all the flash off. Make sure that neck is seated down there good. He's in there. Driving on, just about done with these. Yeah, but that cannon, I already drilled him out. I already drilled this cannon out. I guess it's called stub cannon. It looks like a pistol with looks like a pistol and a rifle had a baby. That's what it does. Oh, that's a good look for him, even though I don't quite like that head, but that is a good look for him. Yep, I ain't going out on New Year's Eve, that's for dang sure. I might go down to the dang grocery store later. That's the bad thing about this live stream. I guess that's why I call it live stream. You can't press pause on it, you know. Okay, all my Goliaths are done and put together here. Get them all in a picture at one time. So all 10 Goliaths are done. And now I'm going to get ready and put them up on a thing to paint them. All right, I'm gonna end the daggum live stream for right now, because like I said, this was just a test, and I'm gonna have, I'm probably gonna have these spray painted off screen or whatnot. Maybe I'll start another live stream when I got another little block. But this one was just a test. I wasn't gonna stay on here for next time. It'll be for a couple hours or whatnot. But I got a lot to paint. I got a lot of stuff stacked up. I'm gonna get some of these sprayed. Now, of course, I want to show real quick the spray paint that I'm using, because I'm real high on this stuff right here. Real high. It's called Krylon Color Max Primer Ultra Flat Black. Now, the reason I'm so high on it, is that it dries really quick and it dries really flat. And I've been using it now for about 5 months, I reckon, and doing all my blacks. And when I do a lot of sketch painting, I got to paint everything in black. And it leaves a nice creamy black finish, as you can see from this here. Let's see if we can get it. See, let me get focus. All right, you see that focus? See how creamy? See how creamy that black is, man? That is just almost like a licorice black, and it got just the right amount of tooth that you want for painting for the brushes. So, like I said, I'm gonna shut the daggum stream off for right now. This was just a test. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and come back for some more. Subscribe if you like it and all. And we'll see y'all later.